A Colorado state representative recently made an argument against protections for disabled people that is just pure and absolute bull.
If you're dumb enough to get on this road and run the 8 blocks, 10 blocks, and run in the ring, and you get hurt, you own it. And that's Spanish law. There's no liability, there's no lawsuits. You don't get to do any of that because you're responsible for the risks that you take in this running of the bulls.
What? That was Representative Richard Holtorf arguing in opposition to a bill that would permit people with disabilities to sue for discrimination. That would permit civil penalties. Now, the bill, sponsored by Democratic State Representative David Ortiz, basically aims to bolster basic access at places of public accommodations for people with disabilities by allowing civil lawsuits for those who do not make reasonable accommodation. What this has to do with the running of the bulls, I mean, I can't really say. It seems like a pretty ridiculous comparison, almost like, I don't know, a load of bullshit. Yeah, that's got to be it. Now, look, here's the thing. Holtorf, I would assume, is being super salty of the idea that a disabled person could actually be able to sue a business for refusing to accommodate, to accommodate them. Now, remember, no one chooses to be disabled. Why go after people? Why blame disabled people for their disability? I mean, that's an incredibly ghoulish, horrible thing to do. But they're doing it. And by the way, I think what he's also going for in this is saying, well, if you did something dumb and you got disabled, well, that's your fault. We shouldn't coddle you or protect you. Wait a minute. Look, even if you do something that causes you to be injured, that doesn't mean that you wanted an injury or a disability. That doesn't invalidate your injury, and certainly doesn't mean that people should be able to allow to be discriminatory towards you. They shouldn't be allowed to discriminate. I mean, look, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody does something wrong, and sometimes that has terrible, terrible outcomes. You're going to tell somebody who, yes, may have, I don't know, gotten into a car crash because they didn't brake fast enough, right? And are now paralyzed. You're saying that they shouldn't be allowed to sue for a company that doesn't put out accommodation for their wheelchair? Is that what you're saying? Nah, that's your fault, man. That's your fault. You messed up. And so you deserve what you got. No, that is incredibly ghoulish. What a terrible person. To say that to people who are suffering disabilities, to say that they deserve to be discriminated against? No, that's ridiculous. That's who these people are, though, unfortunately. Now, Ortiz, who introduced the bill, lashed out at Holtorf on Twitter following his floor speech, saying, quote, "The absolute ableism and ignorance on display here against the community living with a disability and any movement we try and make forward securing our basic human rights and basic access is astounding." Well, Holtorf has said some, well, let's just say he's not a stranger to controversy. He had also previously told another member of the governing body of the legislature who had lost a family member to gun violence, believe their son, get over your son. No, this guy has absolutely no empathy. None at all. It's a terrible person. And, I hope that for one day, he does not suffer disability and have to deal with the kinds of things that he thinks are okay. because no one deserves to be discriminated against. And by the way, if that were to happen, he'd be the first one to clamor for protections, because again, they only are interested when it impacts them. That's who these people are. No empathy for others, only for themselves.